the whole topic about the mentoring people, is that something that is new for you, or are you doing that for a long time and you want to do it more now, or what's the
Yeah,
motivation behind that?
I definitely want to do it more, and I'm trying to maybe also get into maybe speaking events or as a guest speaker, maybe curriculum, a course that I can go and speak for a couple of sessions and explain some of the problems that we're facing in the industry. And um, the sound awareness thing is what I'm focused on. I wanna bring a little more sound awareness into this entertainment industry, not only for sound people,
Hmm.
um, but for anybody in the entertainment, for writers, directors, producers, for actors, especially for actors, picture editors, set designers, wardrobe, like the what's it called, the fashion and wardrobe department,
Hmm.
and set coordinators or casting managers, people who cast people for like backgrounds and other acting like extras. I think that they would all benefit from knowing about the sound post production sound process. Because a lot of times I've met actors or um, directors and different, departments in these categories that I mentioned that when you tell them about Foley, they have no idea. Like,
Mm.
what do you mean? I met a couple of actors and I told them that, hey, we do your footsteps. We record your footsteps in the show that you're, doing. And they're like, what? What do you mean you record my footsteps? I'm like, oh, whatever surface you walk on and your shoes, whatever, shoes, whatever you touch and feel and grab. And we do all the sounds for your show. And it's like, wait, what? I walk and you record my footsteps? What is that are you sure? Like, this is a real thing? I'm like, yes. Okay, so let me explain to you. Every time you touch anything or, you grab anything, we have to record that. And they're like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. And then they're like, how am I doing? Am I really bad? Like, do I move a lot? And then they come to a realization that, oh, like, I guess I shouldn't be doing this a lot when I talk, or I shouldn't be like, uh, I shouldn't pick up a pen and start clicking when I'm acting, because we've had that too. The actor kept clicking for the entire scene. They were like nervous. They're trying to show that they're nervous, but instead of showing it with their acting, they're picking up a pen and starting to click all the way through the scene. And I had to edit like 500 clicks in a scene to match that pen, um, that was not a story driven prop.
Mm.
So why should that happen in an acting scenario? Why shouldn't there be a person to oversee this, to say, hey, 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 hold on a second, no, 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 put the pen down. You shouldn't be clicking that through the whole dialogue. Why? Because you're also going to get called to do an ADR, because they're going to need to separate the pen click from your dialogue and from your performance. And even though your performance is really great, I'm sorry, they're not going to be able to use your dialogue. You're going to have to go to the ADR session and redo that performance after a year of production.
Mm.
So after a year, the actor has to get called and they have forgotten what mood they were in. They forgot their lines. Now they have to go back to the stage and remember, okay, which scene it was, and they have to play it for him. And they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah. So he needs to be angry. So now he has to work on his mood to get angry and get into the mood. And then he does it, and it doesn't sound right. And then so they have to do it like 20 times for him to nail that move again, that line again, and record it in a fake scenario studio and try to match the ADR, match the dialogue, and all of these problems. And then we have to go edit all these pens, match all these clicks to separate the pen from the dialogue, use a Foley artist, a stage, a mixer, an ADR mixer, and an ADR studio, and an actor that gets paid for a whole day to do 10 minutes of lines. So
Mm.
that's like tens of thousands of dollars for a pen pickup.
Yeah.
Why? $10,000 for a pet
So
cup. I could have done 3 more days of Foley on that show.
so what do you
See
think?
where this is going?
Of course. I mean, what is your strategy now in
Okay.
terms of your content? How do you want to get that message across to the right people,
I
actors,
would
and all the people you mentioned?
I would love to get into a TEDx talk or something that can generate a lot of views so I can bring that awareness to a lot of people. Because if we can work on that, not only these kind of problems, these ridiculous problems will go away, and they will be more aware of what they're doing. It will be um, less obstacles in the post production, and there'll be a lot of budget left so that they could use that budget into making the show at a much higher level of quality and attention to
Hmm.
detail and more creativity. There will be time for creativity versus robotic, just record this and move on. There's no time for us to be creative when we're doing episodic TV show. We just have to do all the sounds in the fastest and the best way we can.
Hmm.
There may be 3 cues that we can do. We have the luxury of the time to be creative at, and we have to pick and choose which ones are the most important parts of that specific episode that needs us to be more creative. The rest is just do whatever you got to do to get it done.
Hmm.
But in that case, if I have 2 days of extra Foley or 1 day of extra Foley, then I can be like, okay, you know what? Let's do a few layers of this and for this scene, and then add this there, add some jingles here, add some like magical moment, or help the sound design department, or even call them and say, hey, is there any part that you're having like you need us to help you with some sounds, create some layers for you? They would love that. Who wouldn't love
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
of
yeah, it's
course.
like it's just time and budget. So another thing I would like to mention too, for example, the casting departments. There are sometimes scenes like in a bank or in a bar or even in the street. Sometimes there are scenes that you see a ton of people walking in the backgrounds. There's
Hmm.
so many people walking in the backgrounds, and they each get paid about $200 an hour. Not an hour, sorry, $200 a day. Rewind. $200 a day to be an extra actor in the background.
Hmm.
I don't want to take jobs from them, but when it's a low budget production, why don't we try and balance these? The production side and the post production side do not talk to each other. They're just in a disconnect. There's a big gap between production and post production. If
Yeah.
they bridge this gap and talk to each other, they could, if you omit 5 people from the background, that's $1,000 right there. 10 people in the background, that's $2,000 right there. Can we add 1 day of Foley with that? Yes.
Hmm.
Can we
Yeah.
pick 10 random people from 10 different scenes? Like one person from one scene less in the background so we can
Yes.
accommodate 1 more day of Foley. Yes, we can. It's just a matter of, okay, who do we need to talk to? Oh, we don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Is it the producer? I mean, yeah. So it's that part where we don't know how to get this done. But if there is awareness of sound, what the sound process is, and what can be done to have a show like Shogun and that detail and that performance level and and a quality level, that's where it comes from being efficient. The
Yeah.
efficiency will help us all create much more beautiful results. Mm, Sometimes I've seen actors that stand like on a driveway. There's concrete and the side is grass. They would walk and they would stand right in the middle, 1 foot on concrete, 1 foot on grass, and they would keep shuffling. They're just shuffling and they're just shuffling, and you're like, okay, this is not a story driven moment where someone is trying to train someone like a sport training mode, and they're like, yeah, 1 foot should be on concrete and the other should be. It's story based. Like, this is not a kung fu master training someone.
Yes.
It's just someone making a mistake walking on both surfaces and they're shuffling. So just to cover those shuffles, we would have to one time record only 1 foot on grass. Make sure we match all the sync on the grass, and then go another time, record the foot that's on concrete, match the foot that's on concrete.
Yeah.
And then the editor has to go and put all these things together and fill the gaps so there's no like dropping out of the sound. Do all this work just because the actor decided to stop there between the two surfaces. This is something that can be addressed during shooting and be like, yeah, don't stand on the two surfaces, please. Pick one, either grass or concrete. Just choose one. Just go either here or there. Just, but I don't know. Either they don't care or they don't know, which I'm putting my bet into they don't know.
Hmm.
There's no knowledge of sound being implemented into the creative thinking process of writers, producers, directors, set designers, wardrobe. Wardrobe is another one. Ooh, sometimes they give actors, they're 4 women walking with 4 high heels.
Hmm.
And you're like, okay, is there any other shoe we can give to these women that can be more interesting in rhythm and creating better, like different variations of sounds? If they're all wearing high heels, it's going to be all. It's like you don't want to hear that 4 women walking in high heels. You could give them one a boot heel, the other one can have a flat shoe, the other one can have sneakers, and one can have high heels. And then as you're hearing these sounds, if the focus is on the person that's wearing the high heels, you could hear the rhythm with their walk and even with the sound know which one is talking. And then when it switches to the other person, it could be amplified for that person's sound and the other heel goes down. And so you can mix this very nicely to have beautiful sounding scenes versus just like, yeah, just give them high heels. Yeah, they should all wear high heels. Unless, yes, it's story driven again. I have no problem with that. If the whole purpose of them was to go to a shoe shop and they all need a high heel shoe, that's the story, and that they're going on a wedding and now they have to go and buy all 4 of them. They need to go buy high heels. Yes, that's story driven. I respect that. That has nothing to do with, well, the story is written that way. Okay, we'll honor the story, the director's vision, everything. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's not story driven, that's a problem. That's a cost. That's a huge cost, and it degrades the quality of the work versus helping it to be better.